going to happen today. When you see it, I saw it. So, other than this is the only thing I have control over it. And that's not a negative snipe. That's just, I'm not in charge of it, and I've actually enjoyed it. Thank you, guys. I mean, it's been a lot of fun. Thank you a lot. Larry, were you with us today? I dropped my gun.
I was there.
Yeah.
I had to let people on the door tell.
That was almost as bad as getting home on the rappel tower. Anyway, thank you for being here, all of you. I've looked across this crowd and I see a lot of old friends, not just because you work with me, but I mean, Tim Tamalta there. Me and him grew up on the same street together. It's kind of interesting the people that you meet doing this job. But, a lot of old friends that I've made since I've been here, so it's a good thing. When I was just a boy, my dream was to be a police officer. I had a lot of family members that were police officers. Now, granted, they were police officers in little bitty towns, but it was interesting. And then we all got uppity and moved to Dallas, and a lot of them got on up here at DPD, and I've been around police officers my whole life. And over the years, as we'd get together and all of them would start telling their war stories, I would become just absolutely mesmerized by these stories. And I said, man, that's what I want to do. I wanted it so bad that while I was growing up and I was dating Debbie, she can contribute to this, that I took great strides to avoid anything that would keep me from becoming a police officer. You know, people used to tell me, you're so straight and narrow. Well, there was a reason for that. And unfortunately, it didn't work out for me in the early years. That's something we can talk about another time. But around 1983, it happened for me. It finally came to fruition, and it's been good for us, for the whole family. Since then, 31 and a half years have passed. They just come and gone, and it's like just yesterday. I was walking in this door in January of 1986. It's been 28, soon to be 29 years in January. A lot has come and gone, a lot of things have happened, good and bad, but you know, it's like anything else that we deal with in life. This law enforcement career has had its ups and its downs, and we all know, you know, the downs are the bad things, the bad hours, the rotating shifts, the missed holidays, and all those type things. On occasion, the sheer terror that you get involved in, and sometimes just the horrific views that we have to look at, the terrible tragedies that people do to each other that we have to deal with on a day-to-day basis. And it's been an interesting tour of duty, but fortunately for Debbie and I, it's been mostly good times. Becoming a police officer is one of the best things that ever happened to us. And City of Mesquite, if it wasn't for the City of Mesquite, we wouldn't be where we were at today. And I appreciate all of you leaders for being here today, and I say that from my heart. It's been good to work here. Then I want to talk about the good times. Well, we all know the bad times, but it's those good times that make doing this job worth it. Those times when you or I, we really get to make a difference in somebody's life. And we may do that every day and not even know it. That's why we really need to be careful with what we're doing with people out there, because you have no idea what impact you have on them, and you not even know it. And most of the time we don't know it. We have no idea. But they know it. But I want to tell you one time that I do vividly recall. And that was several years ago. I was just a patrol sergeant at that time. It was a death call up on Childress. I don't remember the name of that apartment complex. My mind doesn't recall those dates. I don't remember the officer who I was with. He could very well be in this room today. I just don't remember. But I was a patrol sergeant. I wasn't dispatched up there, but I was nearby, and I noticed that it had been a while, so I went by to see what was going on. And as I walked up to the apartment door, the medical examiner comes rolling out with with the body on the gurney, and the officer that did the report, and I cannot recall who that was, but he walks past me and they load the body up in the ambulance, and I look in the door and I see this woman standing in there, and she had big tears running down her eyes, and just, you know, my heart went out to her. I felt so bad for her, and I noticed there's no family members, there's nobody in there, just her. So I walked into the door and I asked her, I said, is there anything that I can do for you? Anything that the city of Mesquite can do for you within reason? Just whatever it is, if it's reasonable, tell me and I'll make it happen. I may have to struggle at it, but I'll make it happen. And I knew I could do that because I knew the people I worked with would make it happen once they learned what was going on. And she's standing there and these big tears are running down her eyes. I mean, she just got through watching her husband being loaded up in an ambulance and driven away. So I stepped into the apartment, and the first thing I noticed was all this military memorabilia hanging around on the walls and the cabinets and things. And I asked her, I said, is he retired military? He was a retired U.S. Army Command Sergeant Major who had just retired within a couple of years. You gonna come help me, Hadley? You can stand over here if you want to. Anyway, he's retired Sergeant Major, Command Sergeant Major, just recently retired a couple of years earlier. And I asked her, I said, you have any family around you? And she said, I have no children. My family's in Fort Worth, and I'm waiting on them. And she's just boo-hooing. And so I asked her again, is there anything I can do for you? And she said, all I want is somebody to hug. I just need somebody to hug. So I hugged her. And man, she like broke my ribs. She was squeezing me so hard. But she's just a ball. And she was a short lady, about this tall. And my shirt is just, hadn't been for my vest. I'd been soaking wet all the way through. And it just seemed like it lasted forever. And then somebody walked in and she released me and ran over and grabbed them, and I made my way out the door. I got to my car and I drove across up the street and across Galloway and pulled in behind Lowe's, and I had to sit there and cry for a little while. It just touched me so bad. The thing about that is that was a good thing. That was something that she needed, and she will never forget me as long as she lives. She may not remember my name. I don't remember her name, but I'll never forget it. But more important than that, she'll never forget the Mesquite Police Department. That sticks in my mind, and it's those things that make the bad things better for us. Those opportunities, and they don't come along every day, but when we get a chance, we need to take advantage of it. It's a good memory for me. It's a good memory for Deborah. Speaking of good memories, she and I have had so many good memories and made so many good friends around here. And not just here, I started my career in Irving. So we have friends over there too. I was there almost 3 years. And just so many good people. I know, without a doubt, I'm looking here and see faces that I've known for years and years, and some faces I don't know so well. But I know that looking in this crowd, there are people that if something happened to me tonight, and Debbie needed something, and she called one of y'all, I have no doubt, not one iota of doubt that you wouldn't be there as quickly as you could be there. I know who you are when I look at you, and I would do likewise for you. And I want to share a story, and I'm going to talk about my old friend Bill Hedgepeth back there. About 8 or 9 years ago, I went through a bout of kidney stones, and one hit me one night. It was winter, it was cold, and laying in the floor. Debbie couldn't get me up, and I was too chinchy to call an ambulance. So, you know, I'm laying there hurting. I said, call Billy, call Billy. Well, she called Billy. I don't know how long it was. It seemed like forever, but he finally got there. But it's around midnight. He shows up, he comes walking in. Of course, he's laughing at me, and he's snapping pictures of me laying on the floor in my pajamas, you know, just almost in tears. But he said, all right, let's go, and he helps me up, and as we're going out the door, I grabbed the door jamb, and I said, I'm not going anywhere without my hat. Y'all know my hat. I love my hat. So Debbie gets the hat, gives it to Bill, he jams it down on my head, throws me in the car, and away we go to the ER. And it doesn't end there. He stays around for a couple of hours just to make sure everything's going okay, that Debbie's squared away. And then he goes home 1:30, 2:30 in the morning, knowing that he's got to get up and go to work that morning. But he did that for me. And there are people in here that would have done it, just he happened to be the one I called tonight. That's one of the things that makes being a Mesquite police officer special. And I'm sure that other people from other agencies can say that, but they don't work with you. I got to do that. Those are some of our good memories. As silly as it sounded, it was a good memory. And I will do the likewise. I do likewise for you, I assure you. Throughout my career, I've had many opportunities to be successful. The different chiefs that I've worked for have given me many assignments, and I've tried to take advantage of every one of them. And I think that I was successful. Sometimes more successful than others, but we got it done. And I said we, because any success that I achieved around here, I didn't do it alone. I've always had, for the last more than 20 years, 25 years, some number of people working under me, and you know, when you guys did good, and you gals, when y'all did good and were successful, I was successful. And I was successful because I worked for a group or worked with a group of hard-working, dedicated, loyal, driven to succeed type people. And you made it happen for me, and y'all just don't know how much I appreciate that you're as good a commander as you are with the people that work under you. And I've always had some good people, regardless of whether I was in patrol or in CID or in the jail. And I am what I am today because you people helped me get there. We as a group have shared many good times, and we've seen the best of times and we've seen the worst of times. But we've always worked together to make Mesquite a better place. I've been here my whole life. Ever since I was 6 years old, I've lived right here. This is home to me. It's what I know. And it was a great thrill for me to get the opportunity to work here and try to make a difference. But we've done that as a team. We worked along the way to make things better for everybody that lived here. And we did it. We did it. And we had fun doing it. And we laughed doing it. And we laughed a lot. You know, it's those kind of times that make bearable the unbearable. Does that make sense to you? I mean, some of the terrible things and tragedies that we have to do with, but just being able to work together and fun and laugh, we can get through them, and we've always done that. And sometimes we cried together. Sometimes as a group we faltered, but we never failed. We always got the job done. Our success has been a group success, and it's been a privilege for me to be a part of this group and this organization. And as a result of that, this is an old cliche you've heard of many times, but I couldn't think of nothing better to say. But as a result, I look in this crowd, and we have become this band of brothers and this band of sisters. They come and go, but it still remains the same. The system is still the same. And I assure you that the day that I draw my last breath of this life, I'll remember some of you people. Some of you more than others, just because of the closeness we shared. But it's been a good time. It's been a great career. And the time has come today for me to say farewell. And it's not easy to do that. It's time to get off that law enforcement train that I've been riding on. I love that analogy. I borrowed that from Gary Westfall, by the way. He's always talking about this train, and it fits. So it's time to get off that law enforcement train, and it has been one hell of a ride, I'll tell you. A great ride, and I'd do it all over again. The time has come today for Debbie and I to start a new phase in our life. A new journey, a journey that for us began in 1969. There's people in here wasn't even born in 1969. we were dating in 1969. So it's been a long journey for us, and it's going to continue for some time to come. The time has come today. And how do I feel about it? You asked me. Well, thank you.